Hello everyone, I am Idona John Baptist with the Channel 5 News. The headlines: Attorney Henry Shillingford renews a call to legalize marijuana. A Dominican and St. Lucian collaborate to boost agriculture production through aquaponics. And in sports, West Indies confident about its chances at the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup. The details after this.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fence pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome back. First up, police continue to investigate the deaths of 3 seniors from Cassibruce on Thursday. 2 men died in a vehicular accident while 1 woman reportedly drowned.
Mr. Lloyd apparently collapsed while driving and lost control of the vehicle. The vehicle subsequently went off the road and plunged 150 feet into a ravine. The 3 individuals were transported to the Accident and Emergency Department of the Princess Margaret Hospital, where Victory Lloyd was officially pronounced dead by a medical doctor. James Austry succumbed to his injuries while admitted and was pronounced dead by a medical doctor. Mrs. Lloyd is a patient at the Princess Margaret Hospital.
And the lifeless body of 84-year-old Josephine George of Deepa, Tranto, was fished out of the sea in Cassibruce about 5:30 Thursday afternoon. She was officially pronounced dead by the district medical doctor in Cassibruce. In other major developments, the country's cannabis laws are under the microscope again as the Organization for the Reformation of Anti-Cannabis Laws is reactivating its pressure on the authorities. Antigua is already leading the way among OACS states, with Prime Minister Gaston Brown's administration preparing to go to Parliament later this year to pass laws allowing for the growing, harvesting, processing and sale of medical marijuana. Legislation was recently passed there, permitting the private use of up to 15 grams of ganja and the growing of up to 4 cannabis plants per household. The St. Kitts and Nevis government, like Antigua in 2017, appointed a marijuana commission to stimulate national discussion on the use of marijuana in that island. The plant, which contains the mind-altering chemical THC and other similar compounds, is a Class B drug as defined by the 1988 Drugs Prevention of Misuse Act. The 4-year-old Organization for the Reformation of Anti-Cannabis Laws has been championing the relaxing of laws prohibiting cannabis use. Its chairman, Attorney Henry Shillingford, says, unlike what exists in other countries, what they want is for the laws to be taken off the law books completely.
Quite frankly, we're going to change the R to repeal, right? Anti-cannabis laws. Because our position is not decriminalization. We're very strong on that. It's legalization. Because we think, and our position is, the cannabis plant is a plant. And no government, no human being has the right to make what is occurring naturally legal or illegal. They have no authority over it. These politicians are so out of touch with the roots. Why do we need a commission? We just need to legalize it and then have how we going to do it. One of the things that I'm proud of Gaston Brown is that he said the reason he's doing this is because of Rastafari.
Rastafarian, as a religious movement, considers the drug a religious sacrament, describing it as the holy herb. The attorney at law has a constitutional motion matter pending for the past 2 years, challenging the current cannabis laws which prohibit the cultivation of the plant.
It's about a Rasta youth who has grown up with ganja from his time as his parents are Rasta. Ganja is like basilic or mint in their household. He's on his land and he's growing ganja. I believe as a farmer on your own land, you have right to plant any food, any seed that God has made available to you.
Shillingford, who has made it public that he is not a fan of the current DLP administration, says that is the main reason why the group's active campaign had simmered down.
We were very active in our first year and a half. It was just before the elections, last election. We were very active. We have not been active in the legalization of the plant under this government because we believe this government is so inept that we do not want to give them a victory which we are sure will rally the population around them if they made ganja legal. It means that if we advocated for the legality under this government and it was made legal under this government would get a boost which it does not deserve.
The group of professionals that also make up medical doctors has already met with the health minister, but Shillingford says they are hoping Dr. Daru can see the wisdom in relaxing the laws to explore research on the use of marijuana for medicinal purposes.
Certainly we have met with Dr. Daru as Minister of Health, and we have another proposal through one of our members going to Dr. Daru right now, because under the ganja laws, under the Misuse of Drugs Act, in fact, you can get a license to research cannabis. So we are applying for a license now under one of the doctors. Many doctors are prescribing under the table to their patients hemp oil. And there's an active business in hemp oil, that is cannabis oil, in Dominica as we speak. People are paying $100 a little vial.
Dominica's CARICOM associate Jamaica has a thriving medical marijuana industry, opening its first legal medical cannabis facility last month and enjoying legalization of the plant since 2015. Shillingford thinks Dominica's Nature Isle standpoint makes it ideal to lead the way in using ganja for wellness purposes. A Dominican businessman is collaborating with a St. Lucian engineer in an effort to introduce the aquaponics system to Dominica. Aquaponics is a combination of aquaculture and hydroponics through which plants are fed the aquatic animals' discharge or waste.
The team is hoping that aquaponics will complement traditional farming, which normally requires a lot of land. In recent times, the impact of disasters on agricultural and residential land has led the Prime Minister to announce his intention to protect agricultural land from being utilized for housing. The Prime Minister's aim is to construct apartment complexes, thereby conserving agricultural land. That's where aquaponics could make a huge difference in ensuring food security in a way which does not require much land.
It's similar to hydroponics, where you grow plants like lettuce, tomatoes, peppers on just water. Now in hydroponics you use just water with nutrients in the water, right, that you have to add so the plants could survive. Now with aquaponics, the trick is you don't have to add any nutrients because you have fish, right? So you have your fish tank and you take that water, and that water, because of the fish waste, has all the nutrients the plants need to survive. So you pump that through the bed, and then the plants survive and they grow. And it's actually 97% less work. Well, 80 to 97% less work than traditional farming.
It's not as labor intensive as other forms of agriculture.
No, not at all, not at all. So what you have, exactly.
But there's an initial investment, right?
Yes, there is, but it depends on the type of system that you want. If you're the type of person who is a do-it-yourself kind of person, you could actually use a lot of materials that you could find at your house. For example, exactly, you could use those blue tanks, the 50-gallon drums for your fish. You know, you put your fish in there, then you could purchase some PVC pipe, the 4-inch, which is not very expensive, right? You get a few of those, you drill some holes in them, get the end caps. It's very simple. It's very simple. You know, so it depends on what you want, what type of system you want, and what type of budget that you have. But with this kind of system, it's very easy. The initial budget, even though sometimes it may cost something, it'll more than pay for itself within less than 6 months.
Frederick says this method of crop cultivation can be undertaken commercially.
There are many companies overseas in the States, even in St. Lucia, there's a few people who does that commercially. They supply hotels and restaurants with lettuce and tomatoes grown with hydroponics and aquaponics.
And an added point when you're selling, it's environmental friendly.
Exactly, because you don't using any chemicals. you're not using as much water. Okay, the water is like 90% less than traditional farming because it's always in water, and that water just recycles. So climate resilience, if you want to say. You could do it in your backyard. You could have a 600 hole system in your backyard. With 600 hole means you could have 600 plants, in just your backyard area. So you don't need as much space. You don't need dirt or anything like that. All you need is a place where it'll get sunlight. You could even do it indoors, but you have to provide your own lighting.
Green leafy vegetables, tomatoes and peppers grow very well in the aquaponic system.
In related news, Christopher Linden James met engineer Benjamin Frederick working on a roof project in Emsall, and the men began talking aquaponics. Through that discussion, James learned of Frederick's involvement in aquaponics back in St. Lucia, and the decision to collaborate was born.
So he has the knowledge, and I have the knowledge of agriculture as well. So we're going to combine together to introduce aquaponics into Dominica, because that has never been really introduced into Dominica, which is a very versatile stuff. It's very interesting. It captures your imagination, your eyes, as far as I'm concerned. By you're going to create that fish pond and the feces of the fish and that sort of stuff to feed the plants and that sort of stuff, and massive stuff, and it grows beautifully. It's 100% organic because it's the manure from the fish you're getting through the water, filtering to the plants, so it's 100% organic. So this is a thing that I figure to myself, that's the way we have to go to that way, because it's going to be beneficial when it comes to health, that sort of stuff. You're going to benefit our people. So I thought to myself, that's an opportunity to tag with Frederick from St. Lucia, because he has the knowledge and he has the know-how. And a matter of fact, it's done in St. Lucia and is on a profit scale, and so you can do it commercially back. You don't need much space to do it. So people can actually do that aquaponics in their yard and survive.
James says aquaponics presents an exciting opportunity for farmers to diversify in a climate resilient way. This is Channel 5 News. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners, Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more, smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
Thanks for staying with us. Health professionals are lamenting the reluctance of some Dominicans to take their health seriously and get vaccinated. Andrea Louis has that story.
Dominica joins the rest of the region in observing the 16th Annual Vaccination Week of the Americas, VWA, which comes to an end on Saturday. Over the years, the VWA was a key driver in the immunization of the Americas, resulting in more than 700 million people being vaccinated against a range of diseases. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Social Services, Letitia Lestrade-Wyke, says Dominica has made strides in this sphere, but people should not become complacent in getting vaccinated.
Dominica has much to celebrate as it relates to the elimination of some vaccine-preventable diseases on our island. Diseases like diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus, measles, mumps, rubella, and polio are diseases of the past thanks to vaccines. Our immunization program has made enormous strides in reducing morbidity and mortality caused by vaccine-preventable diseases, and the national coverage levels for the basic childhood vaccines are generally higher than 95%. However, when vaccine coverage is not maintained at high levels, previously controlled diseases can make a dramatic comeback. It was only earlier this year that one of our sister islands had an imported case of measles, which could have been made worse if vaccine coverage was not maintained at extremely high levels.
Wyke added that regardless of the achievements in reducing and eliminating certain diseases in Dominica, gaps in vaccination still exist.
Although historically there has been a positive culture surrounding vaccination in Dominica, declining coverage in some parts of the country has been linked to the unwillingness or hesitancy of a few persons to be vaccinated for various reasons. This was worsened in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria, when the country lost all the vaccines which were in stock. Consequently, there was a decline in the coverage since there were no vaccines available on island. However, the Ministry of Health and Social Services, with the assistance of PAHO, has replaced the vaccines lost, and the children have begun receiving the required doses of vaccines.
The theme for this year's VWA is Strengthen Your Defense, #GetVax, #VaccinesWork. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Residents of Layou and York Valley can look forward to a secure emergency shelter in just about a year's time. This as a $2.3 million emergency shelter is under construction through a loan approved by the Caribbean Development Bank.
I must say that this is a very important project for the community of Layou. This project would be expected to be completed within 13 months. The contractor has given me the assurance that he should complete that before the stipulated date. And once that project is completed, it will not only provide an emergency shelter for the community, but also it will be utilized as a resource center for the community of Layou and also St. Joseph as well.
Work on the project started in February, and site coordinator says over 100 people will be accommodated at the emergency shelter when it is completed.
It will be able to accommodate 150 persons from the Layou York Valley area, and it's 2 floors with a basement, generator room, storage tank capacity, water storage.
Any medical facilities?
And there will be a medical bay also. So it's a fully modern emergency center.
Another major project in the St. Joseph constituency, which was pretty much finished before the hurricane, was the York Valley Bridge.
The York Valley Bridge, I must say that the bridge itself, it is complete. The Chinese company who was working on the bridge, they have returned now. They have started back the process, that is to ensure that the entrances, the approaches to the bridge, they are completed. And we'll also be starting some work on the roads leading up to that bridge. So this is a very important project. After the hurricane, we had some delay on it because the Chinese team had to leave to go back to China, but they have returned and they have begun work in earnest to complete that project.
The York Valley Bridge was constructed to the tune of $11 million, and works were undertaken by China Railway 14th Bureau Group Company Limited. And Dowasco Boss has recognized that urgent attention is needed to combat water supply troubles coming from the most destructive disaster to ever hit the country. Bernadette Enoff says while Dominica is still in a better position than neighboring islands, improving management of water is necessary. He was at the time addressing a prize-giving ceremony for World Water Day activities. Enoff admits there has to be an integrated approach to managing the water resource to include the community and government in that mission.
It means involving our communities, our schools, our governments, our various agencies in terms of how we proceed in managing a resource which we are endowed with in abundance, of course, but which we can lose if we are not careful as to how we manage it. We have seen what has happened in countries such as Haiti, and even some of our nearby countries such as St. Lucia. St. Lucia is having challenges that we are yet to have in Dominica in terms of water supply in times of the drier periods, and even when it rains heavily.
Still, Enoff pointed out that its work continues to be affected by a reduction of water during drier periods, a result of climate change.
The extent to which we are vulnerable to climate change and climate variability, and the extent to which Hurricane Maria has impacted our water systems and impacted our country on a whole, has led us to believe that we have to do things urgently, but do things much better than we have done in the past. And it's for this reason I believe that the government of Dominica has decided to make Dominica the first climate resilient country in the world. And that involves every single one of us living in Dominica, and even those who live outside of Dominica. We have to find solutions to the issues we are faced with. Water that is such an important element of life, something that is so important to life. We see how destructive it can be when we do not take care and we do not manage the way we should.
He says there is wisdom in involving communities in the building of water systems.
I personally believe that the people living in the communities do have suggestions as well. They do understand the history of where they live. They can tell you what areas flood when it rains and where it doesn't flood and all those things. And all of that knowledge we have to take into consideration when we design and build water systems. It is not just about our engineers going and putting on paper a design and how deep they should put the pipes and so on, but considering the community knowledge, I think that is very, very critical. And all around the world today, it is being given a greater emphasis in terms of how we do things well. We want to make our work lighter. So we will build on what the students have suggested. Some of them we had already been thinking of. But it was amazing to see how our students at our secondary schools, not college yet, just our secondary schools, could come up with creative thinking and creative ideas as to how to make our water systems better.
That's news. The sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
L'année sim tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV P ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité. Aidez du bout de maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
First up, West Indies remains confident about its chances at the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup. The 10-team event comprised a fixture of 48 matches between May 30 and July 14. This year's tournament features Afghanistan, Australia, Bangladesh, England, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and World Cup qualifiers favorite West Indies. With just over a year to go, Windies captain Jason Holder unveiled some of his plans to win the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup. The Windies have won the event twice under the leadership of Clyde Lloyd, winning the inaugural event final at Lord's in England in 1975, defeating Australia by 17 runs. 4 years later, at the same venue, they repelled the hosts by 92 runs. Holder now dreams of similar performances to propel his side and lead him to becoming the second Windies captain to lift the coveted trophy at Lord's. West Indies captain says the World Cup is extremely special for his team and hopes to be added to the history books by bringing their tally of wins in that competition to 3. Holder believes his team has what it takes to make it to the final and to take home the win for the fans on the world stage. He noted while it was unfortunate the team missed out on the Champions Trophy, playing in the World Cup qualifiers had its merits since it brought the team closer as a unit.
We're all really looking forward to the Cricket World Cup. I think this is very special for us, being that it's the first time we've had to play a qualifying stage to get to the actual World Cup. And at that point, many people didn't think that we would have been able to qualify, and there were obviously some doubters, and it's good proving them wrong and giving ourselves a really good chance to win the 2019 World Cup and our third World Cup. No, our expectation is just to be consistent. Funny enough, we went into the World Cup qualifiers being the favourites. I know we've qualified for the 2019 World Cup. I know, I guess we're a bit of underdogs at this present time. So for us, it's just keeping our underdog tag and going in to upset some of the bigger teams.
The ICC schedule revealed an opening contest for West Indies against Pakistan on May 31 next year in Nottingham. 10 teams will play under a non-elimination format before the tournament concludes with semi-finals and the final. The Windies schedule of World Cup matches reads 31st May against Pakistan, 6th June versus Australia, June 10 versus South Africa, 14th June against England, June 17 versus Bangladesh, June 22 against New Zealand, June 27 versus India, 1st July against Sri Lanka, and July 4 against Afghanistan. Meantime, on the local cricket scene, DCA's Intermediate League continues this weekend with 3 matches. On Saturday, Grassroots Cricket Academy will go head-to-head with Even Boys at Winter Park Sports Stadium. The action continues on Sunday with Dublin United against St. Paul's Cricket Academy, also at the stadium, and over at Botanic Gardens, Summit and Sagicor General Somerset will battle it out for the win. All matches begin at 11 in the morning. Still in weekend sports, we can tell you that the curtain will come down on the Dominica Football Association's Under-15 Girls Championship this weekend. East Jaguars and Central Tornadoes will be in contention for the coveted title on Saturday. The teams are tied on 11 points with the same goal difference after 6 games played. The first match of the double-header championship at Stock Farm Complex will be Central Tornadoes versus South Alpha Warriors at 10 in the morning. That game will be followed by a clash between East Jaguars and North Blazers at 11:30 a.m. Meantime, the DFA's grassroots football program moves to Castle Playing Field this Saturday at 10 a.m. In excess of 90 students between 10 and 12 years old are expected to participate in the program. They come from the Saint-Sauveur, Atkinson, Salibert, Sinico, Lighthouse, and Castle Bruce primary schools. The program was launched in Lyo Park in Marigot last week for the first time. Next up, renowned local cyclist Bram Sanderson among big names featured in Sunday's road race. Sanderson is fresh from his Commonwealth Games performance and is expected to compete against series leader Kohath Baron. So far, Baron has won 5 out of 7 races put on by the association, while Sanderson has only managed to cross the finish line first once, as well as Chester later. Who will emerge victorious in Sunday's race from Woodbridge Bay to Borough Square in Portsmouth is anyone's guess. Starting time is 10 a.m. Finally, the Guinea's Forehand Domino Championship continues this weekend with 2 semi-final matches. Defending league champions Dangerous Public Enemies will come up against knockout champions Wake Up Stars in the first match. Golden Arms of Soufriere will be looking to outdo Rebels from Fonkole and book a spot in the final for the first time. The games are scheduled for Runners Bar in Canefield on Sunday. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Be sure to join us next time.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
To end the news, the headlines again. Attorney Henry Shillingford renews a call to legalize marijuana. A Dominican and St. Lucian collaborate to boost agriculture production through aquaponics. And in sports, West Indies confident about its chances at the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona Jean-Baptiste. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.